the unavoidable question, your reaction, Mr. Naidoo, to the politicians who say that they are going to charge you for criminal negligence because of what's happened?
Yeah, I think we probably will have to deal with that when it comes through, and I think they are correct in the pronouncement, because as the municipality, the municipal manager is a accounting officer, and if there's anything that happens, you can't charge an institution, you charge the person who is responsible, and that's obviously the municipal manager. However, when they do bring about those charges, then we'll have to look at it and analyze it and find out what gave rise to the spillage that occurred. And like we've explained, it was a mechanical failure. If there's anything other than that, then we'll definitely have to look at it. But I think when you bring criminal charges against somebody, it has to be something that's premeditated. You should know that, Jan. Premeditated, thought out, or dereliction of duty, or total negligence. And in these instances, like the explanations that are being given, it's not pointing to any of those. But I mean, it is their right to proceed with those criminal charges. I did see the petition over the weekend. So, I mean, we live in a free country, and when it comes up, we will deal with it. But in saying that, I think we also want to hasten to add, as the officials are responding, that arising out of this, it's not that we're just going to clean the beach, clean the lagoon, replace the pump and wash our hands and say it's done. We'll want to go in to find out exactly what happened, how it happened, what is pointing to it. Are there any issues we need to look at? You raised the issues of the maintenance program. Look at our maintenance program. If it was an issue of the material being defective, how do we look at these things? And with these days and age of technology, we can look at it. So basically, we're going to go and look at it and see what's happening, because it's not an isolated incident to the thing that these things never happen, or isolated in terms of UGU. It happens all over the country all the time. I mean, if you looked at a few weeks in the papers in Cape Town, they were pumping raw sewage into the sea, and it was there in the papers. And we need to then also be up to date and look at what are these issues, why are they happening, and I think the most important thing, Johan, is that what lessons can we learn from here so that we mitigate future risks of these happening? Maybe not necessarily for Margate 3A, maybe Ramsgate, it might be Amtamvuna, it might be Melville, it might be Pennington. So, we've got to be looking at this. We had a meeting this morning. It was on the agenda. We looked at it. We have a director from Water and Sanitation. We are looking at that. We'll analyze it and find out what is it we can do. So you can be rest assured and communicate this to the public, that we are just not folding our hands and saying it was a mechanical failure and that's where it ends. No, we're going into this, looking into this, and trying to make sure that we minimize these occurrences, be rest assured.
Are you using some outside expertise to help you in this?
Yeah, we have quite a bit of internal expertise. I think at the last count we had was it 23 engineers that we have within the organization. We have mechanical engineer, we have an electrical engineer, we have engineers who are quite experienced. And then just remember that in terms of water and sanitation, although they'll issue you with a directive, they're also here to assist you. We have environmentalists who are part of the municipality, inspectors, but who are also part of giving us assistance, making sure we have compliance. And if there's any special expertise that we need to deal with this, we'll bring in that special expertise, because we believe that this is not something that should happen. And what's worse still is that these pumps, for one reason or the other, are situated along these estuaries and these rivers where they flow into beaches that are tourist attractions. Whatever the planning was in those years, I don't really know what was the motivation. So we got to make sure that we don't kill the goose that lays the golden egg, and especially in the Margate situation, that we don't have these things happening in high season, and then obviously we destroy the tourism, because I think even in Margate, many of those people, they survive on what happens in that season for the whole year. So we are mindful of that, and we really want to work with them. I think the staff did meet with them last week, Monday, Yes, met with the Marwak Business Association. We want to work with them. But the one thing that I want to say, Johan, and I want to say to all the media houses, I don't know whether you bring it out like that or whether people put it to you, but this is not something we go out and do intentionally. This is not something that we want to happen. This is not something that we are happy that has happened. It's something that has happened which we need to deal with and make sure that it doesn't happen again. But I get a little bit worried, when people make reckless comments, that suggest that for whatever, this is something that we are intentionally doing. That's not so. Let me reassure you.
Yeah, well, the comment on the social media that these drain expert guys were deliberately pumping sewage into the river.
No, you see, there's perception and there's truth. When you try to make the perception the truth, it becomes very dangerous. I think, if I'm not mistaken, but GM will confirm, I think drain experts were engaged by us, as they made it clear to you. We did not have enough VTS tankers to pump those. Yes. So we needed them. So they were there, and I also got that SMS saying, can you go and investigate this, that your pump station malfunctioned because drain experts were discharging this thing. No, that's not correct. Drain experts were engaged by us. And the danger about these things and the danger about social media is that these things catch on like wildfire. So 3/4 of the communities, they were believing that this was man-made. That's why I'm trying to clarify. It was not man-made. It was a mechanical failure. But if there was a shortcoming on our part and if it's identified, we'll definitely take action and correct it. But it was not drain experts that caused the problem, Johan. Definitely not.
One last question. Isn't it true that you guys are now paying the price for very, very bad planning of the past? I mean, when you look at the way the equipment is placed, where it's placed, and all those buildings, I mean, surely it must overload at some stage.
Okay, I wouldn't say that we are paying the price for bad planning because, we at UGU have taken a decision among management that we don't blame history anymore. That's our bottom line at UGU from now on, and they all know it. When you address something, when you give excuses, don't give history. Because I'm here for 3 years, they are for, we must do things and make it happen. But the point you are raising is correct, Johan. Let's put this into context. And when you write in your articles, please don't quote me out of context. Quote everything I'm saying. Because sometimes you'll quote us out of context and you'll cause more problems for us. What we are saying is that when that pump station was originally built, Johan, you'll know this, it was probably built to cater for 5,000 people. And I'm sure that's where you're going. But today, how many people is it catering for? Maybe 25,000, right, Candice? But then you'll throw it back in my face and say, no, but if you knew that was 5,000, there's 25,000, you must cater for those 20,000 people. Now, that's where we need to sit down with you one day and explain to you, we only have this pot of money. It's not only wastewater treatment work. We've got to look at water reticulation. We've got to look at sanitation, VIP sanitation, a whole host of issues. So the thing that we are grappling with, Johan, you are correct, is that how do we make up this what do you call, this gap in service delivery? And also, if you look at it, nobody expected this country to turn over so quickly. If you look at history, it's gradual when people get enfranchised. But in this country, we got it overnight. And then when there was a migration from rural to urban or from urban to urban, you know how fast it took place. I mean, I live in Albersville. Before, in the 80s, I used to have 3 cars in front of me. It was a traffic jam. Now it's like for more than a kilometer. I'm just trying to give you how these things happen. And the truth of the matter is that all of us, all government departments, we are not ahead. Aren't we chasing the backlogs? So that is what is really happening here. We've got to find ways and means. And the truth of the matter, Johan, is that I don't want to give too much because I haven't discussed it with management and we haven't taken it to Exco. But the money that government is giving us to do these things that you're talking about is not enough. You know that. So we have to find additional funding mechanisms because the GM will come and say, I need 110 million. And right now we're dealing with DBSA for that. But we don't have that money. So we have to go and find that money. So we definitely have to look at alternative funding mechanisms. And all these plants, they have a program. They have to be refurbished, but besides being refurbished, they have to be upgraded. And if you look at the Boboi plant, I think we told you that at the last media briefing where it was and where we're taking it to. And I can guarantee you by the time that Boboi plant is finished, we'll have to take it further because it would have caught up with us. So people need to understand that, and we, in fact, we are chasing backlogs. We are not ahead of backlog. We must admit these things, and we must try to get to grips with it. But I think we're committed to resolve this issue, Johan. We are. We, as the district municipality, we recognize that we have 112 kilometers of coastline, and that one of our primary economic activities is tourism. Okay, so it's going to be foolhardy for us to go and do things that mitigates against building that market, the tourism market. For the record, and for those that are making a lot of noise in Margate about us killing tourism, we single-handedly funded that tourism authority that caters for tourism to the tune of 14 million rand a year. So why would we want to go and give 14 million rand in one side and on the other side go and do the wrong things and chase the tourists away? Because I saw how it was coming across, right, Candice? They're saying you are killing tourism and you're doing this, tourists will run away. And no, we are not here to do that. That's why you'll find we've set up the tourism entity and we're funding it. And we'll do everything possible to make sure that we respond and we are able to deal with these things so we have those tourists here. And for those people that are saying that, UGU doesn't care about tourists, we really do care. And we really want tourists here. And we really want our area to flourish because all those businesses, they give a lot of employment to our people, especially from the rural areas. So we won't want to do anything to kill that market. So be rest assured that we are committed to this, and it's not that we don't care about tourists and the beach. And I can promise you that between the staff, like you have asked the question, they'll be monitoring this thing, and as soon as that beach can be opened, they will open it so that we can bring those tourists back for them to be able to use the beach. But right now, it's an issue of a health hazard, which we have to take into account. And I think as time goes on, we'll make sure that our responses are much sharper and better than this, yeah.